Right, everybody. So I saw the documentary last night. Well, it was more on the news, wasn't it? So it wasn't an official documentary. I think that's probably later. Someone or some team of video guys will have done something on JWs with these recent developments. But the news that I saw was, it was quite worrying because it was of a 50-year-old man, not much older than me. Yes, I'm in my 50s, but I think he was probably in his late 50s. And for a 50-year spell, he's been sitting on abuse that occurred to him when he was attending his congregation. And that, for me, was quite startling, quite worrying, quite upsetting, and quite tear-jerking to know that he felt as if he couldn't talk about it until now. And of course, there's repercussions because emotionally it's sort of ravaged him, hasn't it? It's left him feeling that he feels as if he's contributed to subsequent abuses because of him not talking out sooner about this. And to some extent, he does have a point. Because I've always said it's at the earliest convenience, at the earliest opportunity is when a person needs to act to stop further child abuse is taking place. By procrastinating and by sitting on such evidence, all you're doing is prolonging the agony. The healing process will just take a lot longer. Had you have said something a lot sooner, back in either the 60s or the 70s, and had he have said something sooner, he would have been on the road to healing now, and he's not. And it was quite apparent just how ravaged and how emotionally scarred he was. But still, I give him credit, even after all this time, for talking about it. And it is worrying, isn't it? It's worrying that there are small amounts slipping through and still attending, but still using the opportunities that they get to prey on young children. I find it abhorrent, to be honest with you. You know, it's disgusts me beyond belief. I was actually prepped up for this weekend revelation of events. Very subtly I was prepped up for it. Someone said, you know, look out for the 8th and 9th. Can't tell you any more, Martin. So I was on tenterhooks, naturally, you know, and by accident I actually saw this news revelation. It was just by accident. I wasn't told to tune in to watch it. No one gave me specifics on it. It's just that I was upstairs and I was sorting some stuff out. The news was on. I was looking on my computer and doing some research on some other things. And in the corner of my right eye, I heard this woman and phraseology of Jehovah's Witnesses and abuse. Well, naturally, you know, I stopped doing what I was presently doing and I listened intently, and I was left feeling very, very sorry for those that have undergone abuses, because it never happened to me in all the time that I attended. Nobody got to take me to a secluded part of the house and do anything to me. So I'm probably one of the lucky ones, because from what I hear, you know, it has been a huge problem. But it seems to be getting sorted. You know, all things of that nature, with enough people campaigning and enough people putting the evidences on the table, and with all that bombardment of evidence, eventually there will be a resolution to it. And I'm actually looking forward to the time where people do pay for the mistakes that they've made, for the abuse that they've done. I'm looking forward to the time when it's out in the open and it's not just swept under the carpet, and they send elders round to people's houses and smooze them and indirectly threaten them as well. You know, we don't want to be doing this to the congregation. My advice to anybody that is currently going through this is, if a criminal occurrence has happened of that nature, you need help. You can't deal with it in-house, secretively, if yourself and your husband or vice versa, if you've discussed the matter and you're not getting enough help from those that should understand these things, then you need to take it to a higher authority. And that means, of course, the child abuse professionals, those that know how to deal with children that have been abused. Because the average person, they don't really have the best idea, do they? A mother and father love that child, but they don't always know how to handle that child if it's been abused, if that mum and dad has very, very strong attachments to the Jehovah's Witness religion. They will always be torn in two. They will always think that, how do we protect Jehovah's name? At the same time, how do we rescue our child? I'm glad I've never been put in that position, because I don't know what I would have done. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I'll have to correct myself on that. I think I probably would have had too much love for my child, too much love for my children, to allow them to be overlooked if they'd been abused. So I probably would have parted company, like a lot of the ones that have been abused. I would have parted company pretty much the same way. And then I would have campaigned to get justice. So I am with you on that. Why wouldn't I be? You know, I tried to think of myself as an upright person who doesn't like injustice, and as such, I would have to support anybody that's been unjustly treated, not just in religions, but in life. Many examples of people that have never, ever received true justice, human rights of what we're all entitled to. And not just that, established figures who are quite happy to tell a great proportion of lies while they're under oath. And so sometimes it's a case of just smoozing and fooling that jury. But you can't do that with God. You can't smooth Jehovah, you can't fool him, because he looks into everybody's hearts. And he's going to look into the hearts of all the figureheads of every religion. And so we'll get our answer sooner or later as to who's likely to be the one that will remain standing while the rest fall. Thank you.